Okay, so while I'm waiting for the dough to cool down, I just totally got reminded of the last time I made pies. Or I was thinking that most of my career has been in either cakes or plated desserts. And it made me think about when was the last time I made pies. And I used to work for a restaurant who actually made pies. I was there for a really short period of time because I got offered a hotel job right after that. So I was only there for like 3 months, I think. But pies was one of their things. And there was one day when my pastry chef had made a rhubarb strawberry pie, I believe. And generally, when we bake things in restaurants or hotels, you bake them in bulk. So it was a full sheet pan. I would say it was about this size, and there were 6 pies on that sheet pan that were basically, one of them was the size of the pie that I had just made. So they were all like 8 inch or 9 inch pies. And stupidly enough, you never grab a sheet pan with a damp towel because the towel will not protect you at all. And the pies were ready to come out of the oven, and the oven was really close to our working station. So I would say if the oven was here, the working station started like here. So it was only this much difference, right? However, 6 of those 9 inch pies probably weighed at least like 35 pounds. Okay, maybe I'm over exaggerating. One pie was probably, no, yeah. One pie was probably at least 5 pounds. No, maybe I am over exaggerating. Okay, maybe that tray itself was like 30 pounds. 20 pounds? No, I already said 30 pounds. Anyway, it was really heavy. The point of my story is that it was really heavy. It was probably at least 20 pounds. And so when I couldn't find a dry towel, and so I just grabbed the towel that was next to my working station. I grabbed the tray and I could immediately feel I had one dry towel and one wet one, and I could immediately feel my hand burning on my it was one of my hands through the towel. And so I thought to myself, I think in the kitchen, your fight or flight mode is on all the time. So I was thinking, okay, either I can drop these 6 pies that my pastry chef just made, or I can grab the tray that's slipping on my forearm. And so I decided to grab the tray that was slipping onto my forearm. I still have the scar a little bit here. It's not as prominent as it used to be, but the burn was about this wide. And I set it down. I let myself breathe a little bit. And I looked at it and I was like, it's not that bad. And then like 5-10 minutes pass, and my skin literally looks like what I would assume is what happens with like burn victims. Like I am pretty certain I gave myself a first-degree burn. And so I casually I casually walk. When you work in the kitchen, you have to have tough skin. Like, you can't not have tough skin. You will not survive. So I casually walk over to the office and I go to my executive chef, and he was I forget his name, but I loved him so much. He was one of those really like stern guys, but really, really sweet. And or not outwardly sweet, but like he'll do little things here and there, and you know that he has good intentions. So anyway, I walk over and I was like, chef, and he was like, yeah, Troy. And I was like, so I think I need some help. And he said, for what? And I said, I think I need some help putting like some burnt ointment or do we have a first aid kit? And he was like, what happened? And so I showed him my arm. And at that point, the part of it that was burned was completely purple. And he was like, oh my God, are you okay? And I said, yeah, it's fine. I'm fine. I just need to put some medicine on it. And he said, do I need to send you to the hospital? And I said, no, I'm fine. I'm a very, unless it feels like I really can't handle whatever it is that I have, I generally will not go to the hospital. So I was like, no, I'm fine. And he just kind of looked at me, and I think someone grabbed the first aid kit and then put the ointment on and wrapped it up. And I felt I felt the adrenaline kind of leaving my body, and then my body was slowly going into this like state of shock, and I felt myself getting a little nauseous. And he looked at me and he said, are you sure you don't need to go home? And I was like, no, I'm fine. I'm a very, like, I tough things out. And he looked at me and he said, I think you should go home. And I said, are you sure? Like, I think I still had like half of my shift left. So I had about like 4 hours left. And he was like, yeah, we're fine. Go home, rest. And so I remember going home, and I called my dad, which at the time my dad was in Korea and I was in the States. And I told him that I had burned myself. And he was like, why would you burn yourself? Like, and I was like, Appa, you don't understand. There were 6 pies. These pies could not fall on the floor. Do you know how much work goes into that? And he was like, you can make more pies. I can't make another one of you. And I was like, okay, I mean, yeah, you're right. But I'm fine. I just had a burn and the pies were saved. So anyway, it just made me think of that story. And yeah, I think scars are so fun. When you work in the kitchen, it's inevitable. You will end up with burn scars, cut scars. And so sometimes I think it's fun when I randomly like look at the scar, because it makes me think of that moment. And yeah, so anyway, just making making this pie made me think about that time, which I think that was about 8 years ago. Yeah, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed that story. Yeah, man, this series is really making me reminisce on all these moments. It's nice.